Special Forces, also called Special Operations Forces, are elite military units trained for highly specialized missions. These soldiers are equipped to operate in extreme environments, often facing situations that push them to the edge and put their lives at serious risk. But what if we took Special Forces out of their usual element and dropped them into something completely different? Say, an MMA cage match. And not just against anyone, but up against another military powerhouse like the Navy. So, in a showdown like that, who would come out on top? This video will reveal who ultimately takes the win. Just so you know, the team wearing blue pants represents the Navy, while the Special Forces team can be identified by their black pants. As the match kicks off, the Navy team wastes no time. They quickly take the initiative and manage to land a solid punch on the Special Forces. Moments later, the Special Forces attempt to strike back, but the Navy's speed is seriously impressive. Soon after, the Navy team lands another clean hit, but this time, the Special Forces respond with a well-timed counterattack. In the end, the referee steps in and announces the Navy team as the official winner of the match. In the next showdown, it's the Navy team going head-to-head with the Army. So now the question is, who's going to come out on top this time? Right from the start, both teams looked evenly matched. The Navy and Army fighters clearly had sharp skills and were holding their ground well. After a series of exchange punches and some well-timed dodges, the Navy fighter managed to sneak in a clean shot to the back of the Army fighter's head, then immediately followed it up with a strong uppercut. That's when the fight really began to heat up. The Navy fighter locked the Army fighter in a tight headlock, shifting the momentum. The real turning point came moments later when the Navy landed another solid hit, this time right to the face, sending the Army fighter crashing down to the mat. This time around, things are a little different from what we saw in the previous video. The Russian Special Forces are stepping into the ring to face off against a powerful, well-built MMA fighter. No need to wait, let's jump straight into the action. During the sparring match, the MMA fighter suddenly attempted to lock up his Russian Special Forces opponent. But of course, these soldiers are highly trained to deal with rapid, aggressive moves like that. Not long after, the first soldier was swapped out for another. Unfortunately, this second opponent was quickly taken down with little resistance. But the action didn't end there. A third Russian Special Forces member entered the fight to take on the MMA fighter. And thanks to the fighter's sheer strength and raw muscle power, it seemed like he was nearly unstoppable. That is, until the tide suddenly turned. The Russian soldier managed to secure a firm lock on the MMA fighter, forcing him to tap out and admit defeat. In the next match, an MMA fighter goes head-to-head with a Navy soldier. But to everyone's surprise, the outcome was far from what the audience had expected. The intensity shot through the roof the moment the referee signaled the start. Both fighters came out swinging with heavy punches, and the Navy soldier was the first to hit the mat. Not one to back down, the Navy soldier quickly regrouped and came back with a series of fierce attacks, eventually managing to trap the MMA fighter near the edge of the ring. But just when it seemed like the tide had turned, the MMA fighter flipped the script. He landed a crushing punch that sent the Navy soldier straight to the ground. In the end, after taking a brutal shot square to the face, the Navy soldier had no choice but to concede defeat. What happens when a street fighter steps into the ring against a trained Navy soldier? Who's going to come out on top? Well, let's find out in this video. The moment the fight begins, the Navy soldier wastes no time. He immediately shows what he's made of, unleashing a powerful strike that sends the street fighter straight to the ground. And with that single dominating move, the street fighter quickly taps out, handing the Navy soldier a fast and undeniable victory. A short but intense clash unfolds in this moment as a UFC fighter steps up to take on a Navy soldier. But who walks away with the win? Right from the start, the Navy soldier attempts to bring the fight to the ground, but it proves to be far more difficult than he anticipated. Instead, the UFC fighter takes control, locking in a tight submission hold that leaves the Navy soldier no choice but to tap out and concede defeat. In the next moment, a welterweight UFC fighter steps into the ring to face off against a U.S. Special Forces soldier. But what unfolds is nothing short of shocking. To be fair, the Special Forces soldier came out swinging, extremely aggressive right from the start, and for a while, he completely overwhelmed the UFC fighter. But then came the twist. The UFC fighter regained control with a series of sharp, well-placed strikes. One of them hit with such precision that it left the Special Forces soldier completely immobilized. What happens when a boxer steps into the ring against a Navy soldier? What kind of showdown are we in for? Well, this video has the answer. Right at the start, the Navy soldier opened with a swift kick, but the boxer held back and didn't return fire. Then came a single, well-placed punch from the Navy soldier, and it was enough to send the boxer crashing onto the sand. As the match grew more intense, both fighters ended up on the ground. The Navy soldier quickly went for a submission, but the boxer held on and refused to tap out. Not long after, the Navy soldier managed to secure the perfect position, locking in a submission hold that finally brought the fight to an end.